Well, a lot sure has changed throughout the years here. Ponderosa. We're once again at the Ponderosa map. And old number 5 is looking a little bit more old. Just gotten modernized, dressed up, cap stack, all blacked out. Times have changed. The fancy striping of yesteryear is gone, and now Airbrakes are here, which is fun. And Knuckles. And our Comboose got similar treatment. You see, the trucks have started to arrive. The age of the automobile is here. And at the end of the deadline here is one of the sad original boxes, neglected, with its Lincoln pin not having been upgraded to knuckle couplers and air brakes. So, what's up, guys? This is Mark. And yes, we're here in our February devlog here for Century of Steam. That is, of course, if you're a member of our Patreon. Thank you, as always, for your support. This will be out in March for those of you who are not patrons. But anyways, the subject of this video is all things Airbrakes and Knuckles. We said that we were going to do more of an informal round robin, not finish a feature kind of thing and show you what we're working on, and then kind of went to, get stuff finished anyways, because that's just who we are. It involved a lot of long hours, a lot of troubleshooting, and a lot of hard work by the entire team. And that's why it's coming out on February 29th. So thank you for bearing with us. We're always ending up pushing it to the limit because we want to show you more and more neat stuff. So without further ado, let's start playing with some of this stuff, shall we? Here's our good friend, the 1026D. After having received a bit of a glow up, some texture updates, actually a new cab, Daniel keeps finding new variations. He's always managing to stay quite busy, but I really do think this engine looks great in this paint scheme with the shiny jacket, the brass bands, and then just kind of blacked out everywhere else. It's a really good looking scheme on the locomotive. And we're going to be playing with a couple new cars as well today. These are the American Car and Foundry boxcars. That is their proper name and by their builder, but they went a little bit of everywhere. They're probably the most common boxcar on the narrow gauge. Most notably for me and my Colorado background is that they are the Rio Grande's 3000 series boxcars, but these ended up on pretty much every railroad. Last time when we showed you the F&CC car, it was a different prototype dressed up to look like the right thing, and now it's actually the right thing. And these are really, really cool cars. Fully decked out interior, everything, with the end loading doors as well. So they're certainly neat cars, and we're glad to see them represented here. And we've got them in a number of different liveries for F&CC, totally not the Southern Pacific, wink, Nevada, California, Oregon, and then some ES&D, fun stuff over there. Anyway, but you can tell that they're quite different cars than the older car that we have been showing off, this Emerald and Ponderosa number 57, being a much smaller boxcar. The 3000 series are quite long, these are quite short, so they're a higher capacity car, and we're really happy to see them. But the big point with these cars is they're more modern, they're bigger, and thus we have them configured with air brakes, automatic air brakes, and all of the fun little doodads that come with automatic air brakes in our simulation here. Without further ado, I got some switching to do though, so while we talk, let's start moving these cars around here in the yard. So we're gonna hop in the 22. Gonna press P, schlorp right in. And one thing you'll notice is that we've been doing a lot of internal testing and listening to folks who are playing around with things. And one thing that we've changed is rather than having highlights, you can see that our crosshair changes when you can interact with something. So rather than putting a big ghost around an image, you now just know, hey, what am I looking at, and can I click on it by the cursor changing in the center there? It's a lot more low profile, so we'd love to know what you think here. But what I need to do is, we got that tank car over there, we got that flat there, we need to get that flat spotted up by this industry over here, but our box cars are going to be in the way. We got to run across the map with the box cars and the tank cars, so we're going to bang into these cars here and set them over on the next track, so... Also, I got a wild hair, and that is a new whistle. I've added a couple this month, actually. That is an Ashton 3-chime. Quite nice. Quite a pretty whistle. So we're going to just gently work her back to the hook here. Just give a little bit of little steam. And we don't have an independent brake on the 1026D at this time, not in this configuration, so just the automatic, so we'll just go bang into all those cars all at once. Oh, I love those sounds. The knuckles close, pin drops, that's all said and done there. So what we can do is, I do want to show you the knuckles themselves, because developer Jake has done the coolest freaking thing. I love seeing this. He's actually simulated draft gear properly. So you'll see that everything's in buff right now, compressed because we just banged into it pretty good. And if I go back to the cab, I put her in forwards, and I start tugging on it a little bit against the brake, you can see that things are a bit further apart in compression now. And if I wing the bar way over into reverse again, back to compression. It's hard to show that from the cab and see it. We'll see a little bit of intertrain forces when we get over the railroad, but you can see the difference change there. And it's not just in and out, it's actually a true proper simulation of draft gear the whole way around. So it's really impressive, the work that he's done to do that and make it performant. Jake's a bit of a genius when it comes to those sorts of things, so we really love having him on the team. Then, of course, we have our Airbrakes set up. So, we could leave these bottled or we could just dump them. It would be nice to have the braking power, though. So you click on the hoses, they made up. And then as you click on the angle cocks, you'll actually start feeding air back to the car, and it'll start charging up. Because right now, these cars have no air on them, which means that their air brakes do nothing. You're stuck with just the handbrakes, because you have to charge the reservoirs on the car themselves via the brake pipe to allow them to do anything. And, that's kind of a cumbersome thing going in between cars and setting up, and there's a lot to do with that. And rather than make it entirely a job simulator here, you shift-click, kapow, and your angle cocks and your hoses get all done up. And you can hear brief chirps of the retainers here as the air is flowing through the train. What's going on there is because we have the brake valve in run and we didn't have all these cars laced up already, what's happening there is that the brake pipe is briefly reducing as it charges the next car, briefly setting up and then releasing as it gets more air from the locomotive, which is fun. You can also hear the air compressor is working pretty hard because it's got to charge up the main reservoir again. Because, again, 1026D, we love your lubricator so much. So convenient. Thank you for that. You can see that our brake pipe is sitting at about 70, and our main reservoir is working on its way back to its setting of 110 psi there. Every time you use some air down the train, it charges from the main reservoir. And so it takes a fair bit to actually get all of that released and then charged back up again. But the brakes are now released. All of our cars are charged, so we'll be able to use the brakes. And I'm going to get these stashed over on the next track, and then we'll keep talking about how some of that stuff works. All right, come on, sweetheart. Oh, we left her charged. Feel a lot more weight behind us now. And I do also want to say, I hope you recognize that the chuffs are new too. I had a lot of fun making new chuff sounds this past month as well. It had been on my docket to redo the one set recorded from Rio Grande Southern number 20 for a while now, and I finally had a chance to do it, and I think they sound a lot better than the old ones, because the old ones had a lot of interference that I had to deal with, so hopefully you hear the difference and appreciate that too. So lots of little fun things going on in this month here. Maybe not a huge, ridiculous, crazy feature, although I'm quite the fan of the automatic air brakes. But lots of little things as well done by all of our team members throughout the month there. So we'll lap that off, comes to a nice easy stop, and then we'll give it a release. And then you hear the retainers go as the cars actually release, which is a really neat feature. And all right, our switches are now lined into the runaround, so I'm gonna press P and slurp myself back into the cab. We're gonna kick the bar in reverse, and you know what? Speaking of kicking sounds nice. So we're gonna come over here and we're going to close the angle cocks in advance here on both the cars, and we're gonna pull the pin now. And now we're gonna go for ramming speed and get these cars sent back. These cars all have plain bearings, which have a decent amount of friction to them when they're rolling slow, so we want to get going nice and quick to get these guys out of our way here. And that'll probably work well enough right there. Shut the throttle, we'll dump the air on the engine. Pow! You hear the hoses do the whole thing as the the joint separates there. The hoses still had air in them, so both of them did their thing. But yeah, we didn't vent the train line because we wanted to keep rolling. So I'm just gonna try and hop up here. It's a narrow shelf though. Looks like we're in the clear. Dunk. Pop the air open. Cars come to a nice screeching halt. And that time you actually hear the air continue to leak out because the angle cock remained open and we were allowed to vent that whole brake pipe. So those will sit there dumped for quite some time. So we ought to be good to continue doing our switching moves here. So let's jump back into the cab and let's go pick up those next cars. We'll lap and release that. And we'll see that didn't have much to recharge here because we're recharging just the locomotive now. So the volume that the main reservoir uses is dynamic based on how much brake pipe you have and how much air you're actually using. So it's definitely going to turn into one of those management things of, are you going down a big grade? Well, don't use up all your air. You'll end up in the storybooks if you do that. Or maybe in a song. All right, so we're going to go sneak in there, and we're going to grab the tank car and then the flat car behind it, and go set that flat car over at the industry here. So that's going to be a fun thing here. So we'll work our way in and try not to hit them too hard. Let's see here. Coming up on it. Just a little bit more. Come on, sweetheart. All right. And we'll use a little tender handbrake here. Ease it down to a nice little speed there. Make the hitch. Made the hitch on both of them. Tie a brake so we can come in and tie our air in here. Get these guys both set up. And release the brake there. And of course, this is the fun flat we showed off last time. It's gotten updated and it's got its knuckles and it's got air brakes now, but still the same fancy load. Well, we'll be showing a little bit more of that sort of stuff in the near future here. All right. Highball. Let's get over to the main and we'll set the car out. So, got a little bit of a ways to run and it looks like all our switches are lined. And then last we'll pick up those couple box cars and put them on top of the rest of the train, and then we'll start working our way over across to the other end of the level here. So we're gonna get sneaking in there, and then we'll get it all set up, and I'll show you all the other fun little air brake things that we've got going on, because it's been the nuanced challenge of many edge cases of all time to actually learn and program how air brakes work. I'll tell you what, Tristan and I have been working really hard on them lately because there's so many nuanced little things that these cars and systems do together. It seems simple at first glance, but it's a pretty intricate system, and we've tried to model everything in the system we can. So anyway, we're gonna back up and try and see if we can spot that on the fireman's side here. In the clear, but at the loading ramp. So just a little more. Set up a little air. Try and work against it nice and easy so we don't disturb that load too bad. How's that? That'll do right there. That's actually probably too far. That's all right. Set them up. Stop. Let's see. Are we too far? Just missed it by that much. All right, well, we'll see if we can pull through it here. Leave it set up. Come on, sweetheart. Show me what you got. Only got about 6 or 7 pounds set on it, so, but the locomotive's all set up too, so come on. don't go too far the other way now. As we always tell you with Century of Steam, everything is a work in progress here, and specifically today with this showcase, look, work in progress, my operating skills in the game. Because as I was about to say, we don't have independent brakes yet. So I can't bail the engine, so I have to set up the engine, and you can't stop with the engine. You're stopping with the automatic, which is not really that good in terms of actual operating practice, but it's where we're at, and independent brakes will be coming shortly. And my Steam chest was still charged. I'm gonna tie a brake here, and we're gonna call it a day. All right, so what we'll do is we'll close that angle cock, and then I wanna show you a fun little nuanced difference. Tank cars make different sounds than other cars because they've got this big reverberant steel thingy or iron thingy called a tank on it. So when you actually pull the cut lever on the tank car, you can hear the reverberation through the body of the car and through the tank versus the normal cut lever sounds. So it was a bit of fun little nuance that we could add in there. So pins pulled, we only had to pull the one, but I wanted to show you the difference. And now we will get our train put together a little bit more here. Oops. Oh no, that was just that other one that was bleeding off still. I was like, oh no, did I forget to close it? Nope, we closed that one. All right, so we're gonna kick this guy back on top of the boxcar here. And then we'll go grab the next couple cars and we'll be underway here. And then we can talk a little bit more about the other things that go into Airbrakes and Airbrake Sim and what you experience with that. So let's get this guy working just a little bit. That's plenty of speed. We jump up. Oh, I jumped all the way up on the tender. Come on, friend. All right, get those guys done like that. Do that. We'll just let it roll, baby, roll. And we'll go continue on with our lives and let the tank car go do what it's gonna do. And we'll run up ahead of this switch, pick up the other couple box cars that are also quite neat that I wanna show you. And we really didn't kick that thing that hard, and it stopped rolling, single tier. All right, switch stands on that side, that's okay. All right. I'm gonna knuckle into those cars. One of them's a Nevada County narrow gauge car, which is cool, but then the other one is a little bit of magic with our decal system. We've talked about customizations on locomotives and cars several times, but this is a new one cooked up by Tom, our Wings and Strings here. They are brilliant with what they do, and they replicated a really neat car that actually served and actually looked the way that this one looks. So Nevada County narrow gauge, very plain, very simple, nothing too crazy. And then this. It's the same Florence and Cripple Creek car we have in beautiful brand new appearance over there, but after it got sold to the Pacific Coast and they just kind of lettered over the top of it. So you've got lettering over lettering in fade with a little bit of dirt and dust on it. Just really cool and really powerful what you can do with the system. So love to see that. All right, let's get these guys. I'll have to show that too. Accidentally fat-fingered a button that's also quite neat. But anyway, we'll get these guys laced up, and then we'll go bang into those other cars here. All right, gonna pull up, do the thing, and get past the switch here. So the airbrake schedule that we have to play with here, we talked about it a little bit and showed off what it does in the schema of just the locomotive in our NNGC demo, but now we finally actually have it tied into the rest of the train, right? But it's called A1 Airbrakes. It's one of the earlier, but not earliest, nor is it going to be the earliest that you see in the game, but it's one of the earliest types that still hangs around. And so we were actually able to record and get values and data from a real locomotive with A1. Again, Rio Grande Southern number 20 in this case. And so we can actually operate this G6 automatic valve like you'd expect with the real thing. I mean, and it, honest to God, I find myself doing some of the same things I do on the real locomotive with the digital one. So that's just a treat. But we're gonna let this thing roll, and we're gonna hop up here, and we're gonna ride the front ladder to the hook, I think, so we can watch it. So if you click on the ladder, you get to ride on the ladder, and then if you press D or A, you can lean to either side of the ladder so you can ride the front of the shove and go see what's up. But of course, I've not given it enough beans. What else is new? Actually, that's very not new. Usually I give it too much beans, which is what this is gonna end up being. Anyway, that's fine. We'll just watch the dunk happen. That's like 5 miles an hour. Ouch! It's fine. And this guy's still set up pretty hard, I'd imagine. Oh, something collided over there. Don't mind that, it's fine. Bang! Alright, now we're all put together. Did we leave that flat car in the foul? Wee bit. It's a wee bit in the foul. It's fine. It's fine. Nobody tell anyone. Nobody tell management that happened. It's fine. Anyway, so we're gonna get all the air tied in here. Shush you. Get that set up. Make sure handbrake's off. This guy, we left the angle cock open, so I'm gonna close it first before I shift click. We're still working out on the logic for those sorts of things to make sure, like, hey, it makes sense to do that versus this. And then the air releases, and you can see my steam chest is still quite violent, and so we're still shoving back, but we left the throttle on, so that's our fault. All right, we've got the whole train put together. We're gonna hopefully not break anything by banging into that car. We're gonna get up the grade and get out of town here, and we'll talk a little bit about automatic air brakes here. So anyway, let's go. Come on, sweetheart. Let's not derail that flat car. It's fine. Yeah, they're not happy. They are colliding there. It's fine. Just a little bit. Just a cute little collision. Anyway, let me jump over back here, and we're gonna jump on one of these ladders here so we can watch Jake's draft gear through the switches. I mean, it actually pivots and does the thing. And it'll actually go into buff and compression depending on what, or buff and tension, excuse me, those are the same. Depending on what the train's doing, which is quite exciting. So, super neat. We'll climb up top here. You know what? I'm gonna show off one of the features as we're going around here. Engine's working hard, nice clean stack. Got firing turned off because trying to explain all this stuff and fire and also run is quite a bit. And remember, that's always going to be an option, and same with this air brake sim. If you don't want to learn the nuance of automatic air brakes, because it is nuanced, don't worry, it's not going to be a requirement for you. It's only if you want to play with it that you have to. So, there you go. All right. Am I on the right end of the car? I am on the right end of the car. This is a challenging thing to set when you're not on the ground. I wanted to set a retainer, but we'll be good kids. We'll stop at the top of the hill on the bridge here, and then we'll set the retainer. So. Yeah, the echo through here once we get up to the wide open part of the valley here in Ponderosa is just fantastic. So. Gotta have a little fun with it. But we're gonna pull up and we're gonna stop once we get off the grade, because remember that's a 2% grade leaving out of the town, so it's definitely pretty stout. So we had to leave the engine working as hard as it can, because this engine was not necessarily designed for this kind of tonnage. And then we'll set them up a little bit here and work it to a nice easy stop on the bridge. All right. There we go, that's a 10-pounder, and we've now stopped. And then we'll give that a release. All right, so we're gonna walk back to the end of the train here, and we're gonna talk about a couple of the extra little systems that you may never have heard of, or may not have seen or realized were part of air brakes, which they're not too terribly commonly talked about in many cases, but maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but we wanted to make sure they're simulated. Right here is the retainer. The retainer retains some of the air brakes, okay? Because when you're actually working with automatic air, at least in the systems used in the United States, as soon as you release it, it releases everything. There is no partial release. There's no graduated release in most cases, at least for the stuff that you'll see in Century of Steam. There were some trains that had that, but anyways. So once you recharge the brakes by putting the brake valve in either run or release, it's going to release everything, and then you have no brakes, which isn't good because sometimes you need to recharge those reservoirs that actually power the brakes. And the only way to do that is to be in run or release, right? So the way you get around that on a long mountain grade is with a retainer. When I put this retainer up all the way, it's in the 10-pound position. And if I put it about halfway up, which we're going to work on a different toggle schema for this, by the way. But again, work in progress. If I put it about halfway up, it's in the 20-pound position, and you can see that the texture right there says retainers must not be used in 20-pound position on empty cars, and this is an empty car, so we won't use it on 20 pounds. But what does that mean? Well, that means that when we release, what actually happens is the brake cylinder retains 10 to 20 psi, depending on the setting, in it for a delayed period of time. About 30 seconds on the 10-pound setting and about 90 seconds on the 20-pound setting, which means that I can release my brake valve and still have this car all the way at the back here braking for me so I can recharge the train, do exactly what I need to do. That's one of the fun systems that we've got in here, and it's going to be very necessary for those of you in mountainous railroading territory. I'm realizing that I wanted to talk about all three of the things, but I'm not sure if this bridge is actually the best place to talk about the other two things, because I can't really get far enough away to see under the car. So I guess we will work our way forwards a little bit and get off the bridge, and then we'll talk about those. All right, come on, sweetheart, let's go. And remember, the brakes were released, so that retainer's not retaining anything right now. All right, come on, sweetie. She's like, this train's heavy. Well, it's a high-step and high-speed 10-wheeler, and we're putting a fair amount of freight behind it on a slightly mountainous chunk of terrain here, so. All right, so we're gonna start going downhill once we get off the bridge here, although you can see up ahead the grade is worse down there, so. We'll just get off the bridge and do what we're gonna do there. In fact, you know what? We'll show a fun myth of railroading. Why not? All right, shut off. We're doing maybe 12 mile an hour. I'm gonna dump it. And she stops right quick. And that may be contrary to what you guys might have heard or think about when you think about railroading and trains. The messaging from folks at organizations like Operation Lifesaver has been great about warning people for grade crossing safety, that trains take, a mile or a mile and a half to stop, but that's a 200 car long, several, tens of thousands of tons from a high speed. If you're talking about a lightweight wooden consist with one locomotive going 12, 15 mile an hour on the narrow gauge, they'll stop shockingly fast. And you can hear our retainer finally just released. I've talked for 30 seconds, so that car was set for those 30 seconds, and now it's released. And I guess we're not quite on the hill yet because we're not rolling. So good, I can give my demonstration without having to set up more air. But yeah, one data point that we have is RJS-20 will stop from 25 miles an hour with an emergency brake set by herself in 90 feet. 25 miles an hour, 90 feet. So they will stop surprisingly quick if you get a big set. It's not necessarily the best for the equipment, but so long as you're not crazy tonnage, you actually stop relatively quickly. And we've tried to calibrate everything so that it mimics that in the game as well. But let's take a look-see at what I was talking about, right? So we have a couple other ancillary systems that I want to show off on this side of the car, because they're on this side. We have a cutout. So now the brakes don't work on this car anymore. You still have the handbrake, but it means that the brake cylinder does nothing. So if you need to cut out the brakes, they're not working for some reason. Perhaps the maintenance on your car is really bad and they don't want to work. You can turn the brakes off. That prevents the brake cylinder from doing anything. It'll still pass air through, but it no longer will set or release the car. And then as well, we also have a bleeder on the bottom of the cylinder. Say if you were to dump the cars and walk away, and then you wanted to move them again, you might need to bleed the brakes. So we've got the bleed valve on the bottom of the cylinder there, and that'll allow the brakes to release and then roll once again without connecting an engine, which you might need for certain switching applications. But speaking of certain switching applications, we got that little siding we showed off with the gondola last time. I want to drop this tank car in there, and I think that's going to be a fun challenge. Let's try and Dutch drop this thing. And we don't have a heck of a lot of run. Well, let's try and see if I can do it on the fly. Let's have a little fun. All right, come on, let's go, sweetie. We got places to be. Okay, so I'm gonna jump out now that I've got this thing bang on full. We're gonna climb up, click on the ladder, climb up, W. We're up top here, running over the roof walks like the mad brakeman we are. We don't want the brakes to dump on either the engine or the tank car. So we're gonna close both the angle cocks there. And these ones we want to dump behind us because we don't want them to come flying into our Dutch drop with us. So we'll just close this one. And we'll say goodbye, friends, to these guys. And they bob and do the thing, and oh my goodness, it's running away from me. Thank goodness for the P button. I swear it doesn't stand for P in a cup. Oh no, oh no, oh no, this is not gonna go well. This is not going well. Okay, okay, cut lever, cut lever, cut lever! Handbrake! Okay, we'll stop that steam engine at some point. There's the switch! No, I missed it. Alright. This curve is objectively too tight for you to go this fast around, sweetheart. Chill. And, oh goodness. Well, now we've created a bit of a missile for ourselves. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine! Ow! Yeah! Tasty. Okay, well, it's still bottled, it's still got air in it, so we'll recharge the rest of the train here, and I guess we'll back up and try again. Why not? This is too much fun, guys. I hope you'll bear with me just enjoying the sim here for a little bit. And then we could talk about more nuances on the automatic again, I guess, if we want to. Probably a wise thing. But yeah, this is just absolutely too much fun, watching the way the couplers work, watching the way the air works, and getting to play trains for real with every little piece of it. For a long time, we've been working on this game for a long time. You guys have supported us for a while as well, and we've been working for a lot longer than even our Patreon or YouTube were up, right? And we've had so many little systems to work on, and so many nuanced details that take a lot of time to get right. And we've basically almost have the train piece of it done. So moving forward, you're going to be seeing a lot more stuff about game and a little bit less stuff about train. You know, Steam Chest we've shown off, Airbrakes and Knuckles now. There's a couple more little things to go, but we really want you guys to experience all of the things, and getting the simulation piece on all of the train pieces was a bit of a coordinated and long effort. And so now that the train pieces are almost there, with Knuckles and Airbrakes being where they are now, we can start to focus a lot more on game stuff. So you're going to be seeing a lot more gameplay-centric and user experience-centric things. That said, though, this is a train game. And I have to tell you that the way that the trains feel right now is really good, and I'm having a lot of fun with this. And this is after I don't even want to discuss how long we were programming. I don't want to discuss how much sleep I got. It'll probably be for everybody's best intentions if I don't disclose that, because yeah, Airbrakes wasn't entirely my baby. Tristan was a huge help, but it was a coordinated thing there, and of course the rest of the team was involved in many little ways as well. But we're gonna try this again here. Pulling the cut lever, tying the brake, trimming a little speed there. Okay, getting good separation on the locomotive. All right, they get past the switch. I get the switch. Get that switch. Let's dump the locomotive. Come on, stop. Don't go around that curve that fast. Oh, goodness. Oh, no. Oh, can we make it? Oh, the end of the siding's coming up. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Hit me. Okay. Brakes. All the brakes. Ah! Shoo. Saved it. Okay, let's go pick up the rest of our boxcars now, shall we? Oh my goodness. All right, let's go grab them. Yeah, guys, the trains just feel so good. It's so much fun to get to switch with these things, and there's still more to come. But hopefully, you guys understand that the true train gameplay, that not the companies and the industries and the commodities, which is all coming and is all going to be exciting, and will provide that sort of what I like to refer to as the roller coaster tycoon management itch scratched. We're all very excited for that, but the train piece of it is really exciting. So hopefully you guys are as excited as we are, or at least partially. I get a little enthusiastic about things sometimes. So, all right, shoving back up the hill. We're gonna pick up our boxcars and we're gonna head back to town, I think. And while we do, I'll talk a little bit about the automatic specifically and how it works. Come on, sweetheart. We don't want to make too spicy of a dunk. And the dunks do change their sounds and how loud they are based on how spicy your ear coupling is. So, yeah, don't give it too much. All right, let's just dump it. We don't have an independent brake. The automatic wasn't designed to apply things quickly. Oh, but that was a chef's kiss hitch, not a chef's kitch. There you go. And I think we still have a retainer set on the ES&D boy at the back, but that's fine. Okay, back underway. Everything's tied in. Got all our air there. So we can chat a little bit about automatic air brakes, at least the kind that we're going to experience for the first little bit here. We're gonna end up having several different types, and we're going to simulate them the best we can. Some of the earlier stuff than A1 is not even terribly well documented, so we'll just kind of have to see how that works. But this brake valve is called a G6, but it actually only has 5 positions. We're in run right now, which is where you want to be when you're just running and doing the thing. Some people call it release, but Westinghouse didn't, so we're calling it run. Commonly, slang in the railroad, you will call this release, though, because it's where you tend to put it for release. You also have lap, then you have application, and then to the right you have emergency, which will stop us right quick, as you've seen. And then all the way over to the left, we have release, which we've also called overcharge because it overcharges the brake pipe. You'll see that the brake pipe is now trying to chase the main reservoir around, which means that we've got a lot of extra air pressure in the train, which is nice for some things. Many folks also call it quick release, though, because it helps you release the brakes very quickly. So you're basically connecting your main reservoir on the engine to the brake pipe. And so it charges up very quickly versus going to run, charges it through the feed valve, which is set to something like 70 or 90 PSI in most applications we'll see in game. We will have other brake valves as we get more locomotives that had different ones. Most of the locomotives we have that are implemented right now are on the earlier side of things, and then they get modernized throughout the years. So this is actually a modern version for the 1026 here. But we will be having things like 6ET and on the diesels that we've shown, we'll likely have 24 or 26. I can't remember off the top of my head which ones they have. So you'll get all kinds of different brake schemas to work with. But this is true non-self-lapping automatic air right here. And what that means for the uninitiated is you reduce the brake pipe. So you can watch the needle go down on the gauge. And reducing that brake pipe is what applies the brakes when the car's reservoirs are higher. But in order to stop it reducing, you have to go back to lap. Lap is basically the position of, hey, do nothing. Do nothing with these brakes, whereas run is recharge to your normal value, and then overcharge is recharge to as high as you possibly can. And so I actually want to clear that because I don't want to have my brake pipe overcharged forever. So we'll just dump it there. And then we'll lap it, let everything equalize, and then we will release it, and we should come back up to 70. Yeah, okay. So our brake pipe is now where it should be, and we'll keep rolling. So there's lots of fun nuance to air brakes, and air brakes, don't be worried if you're overwhelmed. They take a long time to learn and master. It's actually the hardest skill probably to learn and master on one of these locomotives. So speaking of, I just wondered why my train stalled out, not realizing that my air wasn't really released, because I didn't let all of the train decrease down with that overcharge condition. So what the heck, we'll leave it overcharged and just live with the consequences, which there are none actually in-game at the moment. So, other than it, your air compressor is going to work really hard to keep up with it, but I don't have a long enough raid to be worried about what my main reservoir is doing. Anyway, don't want to go in the dirt there, and we also don't want to go in the dirt there. Alright, and as a last little thing, wanted to show off our fly cam. This has been something that Tristan's been working on. It's pretty cool. You can move the camera around, it follows your train, so you can see the majesty of it running through the landscape here. You can also click on other cars, and you can walk down and orbit around different cars as well, so you can choose where you want to ride from and what you want to see. It's a really neat view and allows for a really cool way to look and experience your train. And for those of you wondering why there's no smoke, it's because it's an oil burner and I disconnected firing and it's not outputting any smoke because the engine's working really hard. Clean stack on a hot summer day. Gotta love to see it. Anyways, guys, we hope you enjoyed this devlog, and we'll be showing more game things to come. As I said a little bit earlier, we've kind of got the train stuff figured out, and we're really happy with it. A couple little nuances here, and a couple little work-in-progress things we've talked about. But we definitely want to get to the game pieces of things, so all of that will be coming somewhat soon here as you watch the upcoming vlogs. So thank you, as always, for all your love, support, and everything. We're gonna be done right here with this. So let me shut off, and we'll give a little goodbye here.